And today, I'm going to be putting a big push forward into getting stuff done around here. It's just, if you're a prepper, if you are into preparedness at all, you understand that there's an endless list of things that needs to be done. And I think that's the key to preparedness, is just steadily chipping away. I mean, just like a survival situation, if you look at the big picture of things, if you look at this huge daunting thing in front of you, like, it can be overwhelming and just can crush your spirit. But if you look at what I need to do right now, what do I need to do right now? I need to read this Bible. I need to drink my cup of coffee right now. That's what I need to do. And when I finish that, I'll move on to the next thing. There are people legitimately, maybe not legitimately, but literally offended by my choice of footwear. So for that reason, I will be wearing sandals all day today. I'm going to be up on this roof. I'm going to be cutting metal. I'm going to be working with sharp, pokey things and doing all that stuff wearing sandals. Here's to you, sandal haters. Hand crank windows, Alan K. Hand crank windows. You know what? People make fun of my little truck. I've got this is a little S10 pickup truck. 2004 maybe? I bought this thing, gosh, going on, has it been 10 years? Almost 10 years ago? I paid $3,800 for it. Cash money. Hauled way more material than I should have in this little truck, but it's got the job done, and it has been paid for since day one. So if you want to make fun of my little truck, go ahead. I'm accepting donations for a bigger truck, for a real truck, as some people would call it. This pretty much sums up my life at the moment. Just miscellaneous stuff just scattered everywhere, and I've just got to get on top of it. So Maggie's out here several times a day after something in this hole. What is it, girl? What's in there? I had about half a dozen or more, no, probably more, closer to 10, I guess, friends come over and cleared a bunch of trees that were looming over top of the barn here and over top of my house. And we cut probably, I don't know, 25 trees, big trees. Still a whole bunch left up in the woods, but you can see the results of the wood pile here. I have no shortage of firewood. The roof of this barn was made from leftover used materials, as you can probably tell. So it was old when it was erected, and now it's even older. So, I mean, it's got multiple holes and things like that, which I've tried to patch up for the most part. But for some reason, there's still some little leak happening here somewhere. For the life of me, I cannot figure out where it's leaking.
So I've got tons of scavenged materials here. Lots of roofing material here that I can use for just such an occasion. And I like to hold on to all this kind of stuff just because you just never know. I mean, with the amount of roofing material here, the metal I've got here, I could easily build a really good sized pole barn of some sort. I keep an assortment of tapes, screws, nuts, bolts, everything. Every nut and bolt that I come across, every deck screw, I save it all, including the old roofing screws that I've replaced on some roofs. I save all of those. And for this job that I'm doing, these are going to work just fine. I think that's a big part of prepping that a lot of people overlook is hardware, you know. Just look at the gas shortage that we've had. All that had to happen was the shipment of the delivery of the product was shut down. Not that there wasn't fuel, it's just it couldn't get there. What if the same thing happens with building supplies and food and all that kind of stuff? So it's just good to have things like this on hand. You coming up?
Help.
Nope.
Yes.
You're on your own.
Help.
You got to be brave. It's hard to balance, you know, work, making a living, being a good husband, being a good father, having time for all of these things, and then just maintaining all the stuff that you got going on around the house. But maybe we can include this little turd in the job.
Wait.
Climb.
Dad, there's a spider.
Climb.
What?
The world's full of lazy wimps, and your only job is to not be one of them. Throw that off of there. Off the roof, weirdo, not on it. The spot I need to fix right there. Right there. So this is the rooster roost, by the way. I'm standing on the roof right now, working on this little bit of siding. I know it looks rough, but it's on the back side of the barn, and I don't really care. The whole barn is, I'm pretty positive they didn't use a tape measure or a level of any kind when they built this barn, just kind of scrap materials and threw it together. But, so I'm kind of sticking to that theme here. But it's going to work. It closed it in pretty good, and then I'm just going to spray foam that seam up top. But this is the rooster roost. I built it as kind of my office, man cave kind of deal, but it also doubles as overflow. If we should have some family members come from down in Atlanta and civil unrest is highly likely, we could possibly, or most likely I'd be moving out here and giving up my space inside the house, which I'd be more than comfortable to do that. I have everything that I need out here to live for a month. I could sustain myself for a month out here, no problem. And this is Scarlett. Why are you dressed like it's wintertime?
Because it is.
It's like 75 degrees outside.
No, it's not.
Closed off the end of the rooster roost there with the scrap metal. And that will keep some of the weather out. Hopefully some of the critters. I spray foam some of the gaps, but it could probably use a little more. But now I'm going to tackle the front side. Big ol' hornet.
Let me see.
Don't want to get stung by that. What? Okay, thanks, Sage.
that's all you wanted to get?
Put it on the burn pile. The rain was hitting it and it was going to rot it. Well, it was rotting it. So let's get rid of it. It's like, you know, you look at these projects and you think, oh, you know, closing that in, oh, that won't be a big deal. Just cut a few pieces of metal. But setting up for it and then cleaning up the disaster afterwards is always a big chore. So I like to put my extension cords into buckets like this. It makes it pretty easy to manage the longer ones like this 100-footer. Yep. Make sure it gets put back when you're done. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
The prepper inside of me and the minimalist inside of me are always at odds with one another. This is some leftover flooring, really thick rubber, heavy-duty rubber flooring. Back from when I used to be a strength coach, left over from putting it in gym floors, and I kept on held on to a bunch of it just for miscellaneous uses, which I've used for like workbench tops and things like that. And I still use it to work out. I put it down on the gravel when I work out on top, so I have a flat surface to work out on. But the struggle is, where do you keep all this crap? You know, I keep every stick of lumber that I have that's over about 16 inches. Anything shorter I kind of get rid of, but all the sheet metal, this kind of stuff, it just kind of piles up and piles up, and it's great and really handy to have, but super big pain in the butt to try to find storage for it. Tater patch is looking really good. I've been consistently doing a good job this year of coming out here and weeding it, staying on top of it. Like every other day or so I come out here and take the hoe to it and knock down the weeds, but those babies are looking good. I'm gonna plant today. I'm gonna put in the ground a whole bunch of candy roaster squash and see how that does this year. I've never tried to grow that before, but it's kind of from this area, or a local plant, and we're gonna see if it does well without really much maintenance. Bring on the comments about the tilling and the sandals. I'm looking forward to it. Little tip, if you leave your tiller running, just shut the fuel off and let it run out of fuel. It seems to help. I've had a lot of problems with small engines, carburetors clogging up and dunking up with old fuel and stuff left in the lines, but if you let it run empty, pulls all the fuel out of the carburetor, it seems to eliminate a lot of the issues. So some of you may be watching this and asking yourselves, this channel is called Survival Dispatch. What does this have to do with survival? Well, it's the difference between short-term and long-term survival, right? Short-term survival, you're lost in the woods, you know, you're plane crash, whatever, that kind of stuff, and you just need to see yourself through the short term until help arrives. Long-term survival is, in my opinion, being able to produce all the food that you need. And this is nowhere near as much as my family would eat, but it is good training. And that's kind of the way I see it, is if I can make this work, maybe I could, this turned into my full-time job, I could potentially just scale this up. You guys got water, got some pellets. Ooh, we need to fill your pellets up. Maggie, quit. Kids. Kids. It's always something. I normally have the battery hooked up to a tender, a charger, you know. But I failed to do the simple things, and now I've got to jump start. The joys of a two-wheel drive truck. I'm stuck on pretty much flat ground. Normally, I would pull it out with the tractor, but the tractor won't start.
Muscles.
So there's a positive and a negative terminal, okay? The positive one is always colored red.
The red?
Yep, the red one right there. So I'll hook this up.
The black one goes on the black?
Yep, I'll hook this up to the red one, and then the black one is easy just to get it from the top. So I'll hook it up here, and then I need to do the same thing on the other side over here. It's important not to touch these ends of the jumper cables together. You gotta be careful not to do that because it'll spark, okay? All right, so let's do it on the truck. You wanna help me?
But I went
Do you not believe me?
no.
All right, so, and then we'll give it a second, let it pump some juice in there, and then we should be able to start the tractor up. This little brass O-light. It's got some heft to it. It's a little heftier than the aluminum type flashlights. It just feels, I don't know, it feels more substantial, feels more quality when something's got a little weight to it. Not as good when you put it on the brim of your hat, the bill of your hat, because it kind of wants to move around a little on you, but it does work. It gets the job done. I like this little O-light. This tractor is awesome. It was made in 1948. Runs like a champ. There's a huge black snake in that wood pile. It's like a 6-footer, big black racer. I caught it by the tail the other day, but I figured I'd let it go and just let it live and eat the rats and stuff and mice that are around the barn. For a while. I know a chainsaw would be easier, but by the time I got the thing out here fueled up and started up, I'll be through it with this saw. Pick it up, they're gonna throw it in the woods, okay? I've been steadily working on clearing this spot out a little bit. I want to keep the bigger, healthier looking trees in this area over by our pond. But as I typically do, I got a little carried away and I forgot about Maggies Wire, her electric fence here that keeps her from chasing cars. Maggie is just about the best watchdog you could ask for, but she does come with her flaws, and chasing cars is one of them. But simple fix. I used to do it properly and shrink wrap the wire and everything and seal it up and make sure it was really perfect. But now, for the past year or so, all I've really been doing is just stripping back the wire a little bit, stripping the insulation off, twisting the wire up, and it works just fine. It's never had any problems. So this is fast, expedient, and it gets the job done. It's good enough. And this is where Maggie's fence is buried, somewhere right around here. I can't quite remember where, but this is it. And she knows where it is, so she stops right there. Or if anything comes to the gate, or even like, you know, a four-wheeler rides by, a bird flies too low, she's on it. Huh, girl? Well, it's been a big day. We got a lot done. Sun is setting, and I think I'm going to call it quits. Tomorrow is a new one. We'll do some more chores tomorrow, but thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and leave us a comment. See you next time.